There are too many academic careers from universities all around the world of people who have been affected negatively. A short list: Russell Targ and Hal Puthoff from Stanford Research Institute at one time, Wilbur Franklin, John Hafstad and John Taylor, Ted Baston, Andrea Puharich. Oh, the list goes on and on. These are academics who chose to believe that Geller was telling them the truth.
So Uri Geller tells a bunch of nonsense about how he has psychic and mind over matter powers that were given to him as a child by an angel from the planet Uba. And all these academics chose to believe that he was telling the truth. And supposedly universities and research agencies and governments wasted millions of dollars investigating the claims of Uri Geller. And these 7 people listed and others not named, the list goes on and on, were negatively affected. Some of them lost their university careers because they had chosen to believe this bullshit. Well, good riddance to them. People that are that naive and gullible have no place claiming to be academics, claiming to be intellectual authorities as university professors, people that we look up to as the experts. All that Uri Geller did was manage to expose them for being intellectual frauds, and we should actually be grateful to Uri Geller for doing this, because it's a service, a very great service that he has provided to us. And as far as the government's wasting millions of dollars, that's another thing that has to be investigated and exposed. We need to expose the governments and the universities for the frauds and charlatans that they are, and the millions of dollars that they get from us to waste on all kinds of things like this. Or investigating crop circles. They're wasting millions of dollars of our tax money for this bullshit. They're the real frauds. They're the real charlatans. They're the ones we should be really hounding and exposing. And in the pursuit of this, Uri Geller has been a very good instrument in exposing just a handful of these people for the gullible, naive, intellectual frauds that they are. And do you really want these people to not have their careers jeopardized as university professors? No, I say good riddance to them. Weed them out. It's something long overdue. Thank goodness for Uri Geller, to the degree that he's helped us to do that. It's like the emperor's new clothes. Now there's the emperor parading down Main Street, stark raving naked. And then there's all the thousands of people standing on the sidelines of the street, cheering for what great fine clothing the emperor is wearing, even though any child can see that he's stark naked. And when those in the caps and gowns of universities stand there applauding the loudest and saying what fine clothing the emperor is wearing, don't blame the emperor. Thank the emperor for exposing these academics, these academicians, for being the frauds that they are. Or would you prefer not to? Would you prefer that we don't have the emperor doing this, and that we can go on believing that these people in caps and gowns are the experts and the authorities and the intellectual authorities of our world? We should expose them at every chance. And as a person who's devoted his career to exposing frauds and charlatans, I think James Randi should appreciate that sentiment. Uba, Uba.
He said he was.
My name is John Bennett, honorary postgraduate of Hahnemann College of Homeopathy, London.
Hello, I'm James Randi, founder of the James Randi Educational Foundation.
And we're about to have a little discussion about homeopathy.
In my books and in presentations all over the world, I've used demonstrations to show audiences the importance of thinking skeptically about pseudoscience.
Good idea. Let's take a skeptical look at what Randi's claiming, which you will see is in itself a prima facie example of pseudoscience. Pseudoscience being beliefs and practices that claim to be science without employing the method of science. So in this case, instead of an objective experiment, scientific test, or random controlled trial, Randi is using a dangerous stunt to prove what he wants to be true.
One demonstration I've done many times consists of downing an entire package of 32 homeopathic sleeping pills. I have to do something now which seems a little bit strange for a magician, but I'm going to take some medication. This is a full bottle of Calms Forte. I'll explain that in just a moment. Ignore the instructions. That's what the government has to put in there to confuse you, I'm sure. I will take enough of these. Indeed, the whole container. 32 tablets of Calms Forte.
Which is an example of pseudoscience. Randi is asking us to think skeptically about pseudoscience and then uses himself as an example to show exactly what it is that he's talking about.
The recommended dosage, by the way, is 2 to 3 tablets, just to show that these scam medications have no effects.
Oh yeah? Well, just look at his eyes. He can barely keep them open. Don't do what this man is doing until you've heard the entire story, or you may saddle yourself with lifelong symptoms. Now, I agree with Randi that you're being scammed, but the scam here is Randi's. And in this and other videos, I prove it to you, because homeopathic remedies make use of such highly diluted substances, it is understandable that some people may be doubtful as to whether or not these substances can have any biological action whatsoever. But that isn't any reason to substitute a pseudoscientific stunt of the type Randi is performing here for the scientific method. Plants, for instance, make much better subjects for testing the action of homeopathic remedies, and likewise, extensive testing has been done on plants using homeopathic remedies, objectively showing their biological action. Now, there are simple tests that you can do yourself. Homeopathic remedies can either accelerate or stunt plant growth, and they can be used phytopathologically too, which means that they can be used to control plant pests and plant diseases. Now, if they work on plants, then doesn't it stand to reason that they can also work on other living subjects, such as biochemical subjects? But Randi, who purports to be a proponent of the scientific method, isn't talking about the extensive biochemical testing that's been done on homeopathic remedies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the homeopathy, this is a powerful form of medicine that is challenging what is thought to be the only treatments for human illnesses. It's challenging patent medicine. It's challenging allopathic medicine, $1 trillion a year business.
Now, there's a warning on the box saying to call your local poison control center in case of an overdose.
Well, there should also be one on the box made especially for Randi, to have him call a psychiatrist immediately. This man is publicly encouraging people to intentionally overdose on substances, FDA-regulated substances, which he apparently knows little, if anything, about, in order to further a dangerous racket. However, the manufacturer of those homeopathic sleeping pills would probably sell twice as many of them if they put a picture of him on the box.
But that's a joke.
So is James Randi's $1 million challenge. And I will prove it to you in later videos.
But that's a joke.
Tune in, turn on to homeopathy, real medicine that really works. And watch as Randi and I, John Bennett, continue to go head to head about this very interesting subject. Two men go in, Oh, one man comes out. Listen very carefully to what Randi says. It's been carefully scripted. And I will reveal to you all of his lies. Well, maybe not all of them. There's probably a few I haven't heard yet. Subscribe to the Bannershot channel here on YouTube for more about the $1 Million Challenge to homeopathy and homeopathy's $1 trillion challenge to the patent medicine racket.
This is James Randi with the James Randi Educational Foundation. I've overdosed on homeopathic sleeping pills many times, and my eyes are still open. See?
Toothpicks.